Hello, my friends, and welcome to today's video break. Psalm 44, verse 8 says, "In God we make our boast all day long, and we will praise your name forever." In God we will make our boast all day long. Now, I don't know about you, but doesn't your ego like to be noticed? What I mean by that, don't you, when you've done something, when you've achieved something, don't you like to kind of be noticed? Noticed for what you do at work, noticed for what you do at home. I know some of you that stay at home all day long and man, you work so hard and no one notices, but it just seems so amazing to me what isn't noticed. And so, but our ego screams out, notice me, notice me. Now, I'm not saying, don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying you don't need to be noticed, but here's what I am saying. Wouldn't it be awesome if we got to that place where all our inward self needed to do was boast in God? Now, I'm not saying David was here, but this is a cool place to be, is just recognize applauding what God has done over the day. And it turns our attention away from ourself and it turns it on to God and recognizing, oh man, God, you did that. Thank you, Lord, for the great board meeting I had. Or thank you, Lord, for the way that you gave me insight into something that I didn't see before, or gave me a thought that the answer that I needed just at the right time. Thank you for the relationship that was restored. Thank you and thank you for a messy house but happy kids, or thank you for, the list can go. I can boast in God, what God is providing. And often what God is providing is so much inward fruit, inward character, what he's pouring in. But oftentimes our self gets in the way because it wants to be the one that's noticed, it wants to pay attention to it. And so it's called the false self. But if we recognize God deserves the applause. I think it's such a thin space when I turn from myself to God and say, okay, Lord, this self thing gets in the way and I know it, but I'm going to applaud you for doing what you're doing around me and through me. So what David was saying all through this psalm is that he recognized that a lot of battles were won, but it wasn't his sword that did it. It was God winning those battles. And it was God that was in that awesome place, giving David the strength, giving David the wisdom, giving David the know-how and how to approach the enemy, and he recognized that's where that came from, mentally, emotionally, physically, all that came from God. And so I'm wondering, do we do that? Do we recognize that maybe the thought popped in my mind, not because I'm some genius, but because God put that in there? Or maybe that just amazing idea, or maybe that thought that said, pay more attention to your kids and let other stuff go. Where does that stuff come from, my friends? Let's boast on God. And God giving us the strength to make it through a day. And let every day be that day where we're boasting, not in our ability, not in ourselves, but boasting almost in our weakness, because we know that's the place that God shows up. That's what Paul said. And so, friends, let's boast. Let's boast today on what God is doing. Be blessed.